This is gonna be fun. All right, I'm gonna get some coffee, something else to drink. You got like a 5-minute opener, right?
Yeah, I accidentally clicked live before I found the video. So we're
It's
live
fun.
now for a second. Here we go. They just changed the layout. Here we go.
What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is. Preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? I'm the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus.
Wardlow here.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks. Got a little empty Bishop window over here. I'm at Ref Marsh. We're all just hanging out. Bishop hit me up and he said, "Hey, we got to do this shit." And I was like, "You're probably right." I've been pretty upset watching all these fucking jabronis and idiots pretend that John Cena turned heel in the most baby-faced move I'd seen in my fucking life.
It's also true.
I mean, bottom line, as we get into this, bottom line, same reaction when Becky slaps Charlotte. Because motherfuckers don't cheer moments, they cheer getting what they want and what they've been waiting for forever. The turn on Becky's turn on Charlotte was a heel turn. You know it by the promo the next night. She's talked about it in other venues. She was a heel. The problem is people loved what she did and cheered so loud and hard that they said, uh-oh, we got a babyface now. How are we supposed to do this? And Charlotte floundered because she didn't know how to turn babyface because she was already the heel, right? But if you're all like, women are different. Stone Cold Steve Austin, if you ever heard of him, turned heel in King of the Ring when he poured whiskey down an alcoholic's mouth and beat the shit out of him and said, "You and your Bible thumping son of a bitch. Guess what? I just kicked your ass." That was meant to be a heel promo. Stone Cold was backstage saying, "I can't be babyface. I don't want to be babyface. You can't turn me babyface." Jim Ross tells the story about a year or so after Austin turned heel about how good his babyface check was now. Because people cheer what they like. They don't cheer that someone had a nice moment. You know how I know that? No one cheered when Indy Hartwell won anything, and that was a nice moment for her. No one cheers for Gargano when he wins the tag titles twice because that was a nice moment for him. No one gives a fuck about your moments, dude. They give a fuck about getting what they want, and what they want is Gargano off their TV, and they want Cena kicking people in the nuts. How you doing, Bishop? I haven't seen you in a while. It's been a minute. Cheers.
What's up, Julius?
What are you talking about?
In the chat.
Oh, we do have Julius over there. Ew. Julius Cairo.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Marsh, thank you for having me on.
Yeah. You wanted it, you got it. And by the way, anybody who's paying attention later on this week or maybe next week, there's going to be another one that someone else asked me to do. And so we're going to have a very big guest here soon as well. So
literally and figuratively.
Tuned. Yeah, literally and figuratively.
I was right because I'm always right that we should have done this show.
Oh, yeah. Julie says he's been on the show. It wasn't memorable, not entertaining. I think he was on with Digi and Amanda like a week or two, or maybe a month ago. I tried to come on too. It was a mess, man. I had to tell Digi he's got to fix that. Because I tried to talk to him like 3 times when his mic wasn't coming through on my side. It was a whole thing. Digi over there on Thursday Night Chaser, moving it to Wednesdays. I don't know what they're chasing when they're having it before the whole thing, but
they're chasing Tuesdays. Because now that Ricky is no longer on Wednesdays, they got to be on Wednesdays so they can talk about Ricky after Tuesday.
That's a good point. Now that it's Ricky, yeah, that's probably it. It's just because they're talking about Ricky. I even heard too that because I asked them, they're not doing a ton on AEW anymore. Because that was the whole point.
Ricky's not on AEW.
Ricky's not on AEW. Colt's not on AEW. Who's over there even?
Every time I tell Amanda, it's because of Ricky. She's no, it's not Ricky. No, yes, it is. Yes,
yeah, it is. Yeah,
but she can watch AEW just to bitch about how Cabana is not on AEW. That's still allowed.
You know what would have made this Osprey match better? Colt Cabana.
Colt Cabana was in it.
Yeah. Julie says AEW is for whoever it's for. And I think that's probably the best way to describe a lot of stuff, if I'm honest.
1000%. And yeah. Shouts to Julius because I don't pay attention to Thursday Night Chaser. I love those guys. They're awesome. And every once in a while we fuck around, but I just don't watch things the way they do. And that's the whole point of what this is. You know, me and Marsh, we haven't been on here in a minute, but what we do is we do for WWE what they do for indie and otherwise, including now NXT because Ricky's there. I guess we talk about WWE. Well, nobody talks about anything the way Amanda talks about Ricky. I don't think it.
Hey, Julius, if you are free right now, if you go to what's the easiest way to even message me? I guess X for now or Instagram, Marsh Ref or Ref Marsh. Send me a DM of your email. I'll send you a link right now. Where does the all fall for us, guys? Let's do that real quick too. What's in your glass?
On deaf ears. On deaf ears.
It falls on deaf ears for sure, but let's bring up a part of it.
In my glass is the Cuba roast of Nespresso. So
yeah,
I have my bougie coffee.
I have whatever in a Hershey's mug. I've got my Albuquerque Isotopes coffee cup. I'm about to finish my coffee, so because it's you and we do what we do, I did pour a glass of apple brandy to have as I go because fuck it, I got nothing to do today except for edit later, and that's gonna be I almost never do that sober. So
well, you're not gonna drink by yourself, so
well, I'm not drinking a lot yet. Oh shit, Schamberger's got a new Thunder Rosa painting that looks great. For anybody who no, he's strictly with AEW. And to be honest, I'm still a big fan of his. I'm glad to see his style kind of go back a little bit. He was going a lot of stuff, which I'm always appreciative of any artist who is willing to take chances and stuff. And, you know, what that does mean, though, is you when you start changing up a lot of the stuff of why you got there and you're trying to explore as an artist, sometimes your fan base will change or alter from this to that, right? Like musicians do it too, where it's all like they're verified. I'm not verified on anything. I don't know why you can't message me.
All right, little Knob Creek. Good old favorite. So
I'll put my email in there. I feel like
probably not,
find.
just in case.
He's got to be in Discord, right? That's the only way Digi would have ever talked to him.
There you go. I don't think I'm linked to your Discord. I don't think you're linked to mine.
That's a good point. I have that old Wrestling on the Rocks Discord.
Yeah. Well, real quick, cheers.
Cheers to you. Yeah, Ref Marsh on Twitter. How is he not allowed to DM me? Just tweet at me. Oh, there it goes. Found you.
Oh, shit. I still have my last episode
back.
up. Dude, my John Cena episode was so dope. Did you listen to it?
No, it's on my list. I wanted to. Although, but I already knew it's going to be a bunch of bullshit, dude. Oh, he's so heel. Oh, God.
No, actually. Actually, that was not what I said.
As a matter of fact.
No, me and you, we texted back and forth, and you were saying some bullshit. Basically, you just said that bullshit in the beginning on how they weren't cheering for the moment. They were cheering because they got what they wanted, so he's a baby face, and then you probably farted into the phone or some shit. They were cheering for the moment, and like I told you, wait until see, that's what this guy does. No, seriously, serious. The cheers when it happened was for the moment because no one ever thought they would see it, and it was really fucking cool. The fact that he didn't get booed is an indictment on Cody sucking. And when Cody came out on Monday, too soon, by the way, like he should have been off TV forever, or was it Friday?
So Charlotte sucked, and that's why Becky got booed, got cheered.
Yes.
Okay, and then
we know that
Stone Cold, everybody in the world sucked, but Stone Cold.
Stone Cold was refreshing at the time, and it also wasn't overnight that he started to get cheered. It was when the stunner got over. It legit wasn't. Go back and watch those Monday nights. Even Bruce Pritchard, he's like, "Oh, and the next night there was 316 signs." It took months for 316 signs. It was not right away. It was not right away. Plus, half that shit was pre-taped anyway. People didn't get a time to write 316 on signs. It took a while. Because if Stone Cold was that over, he'd have been at Survivor Series, and he wasn't. But anyway.
So go ahead. What was the thing is that
TW Takes podcast. Download my latest episode. I talk about the Cena heel turn. But the crux of the argument was that for me, with you, is that Cena would get booed. His name would get booed when when Cody brought it up. But Cody is not good enough as a wrestler to get people to cheer him appropriately. The crowd chanting, "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks," is an indictment on Cody not being cheer worthy.
Cody is a bystander in other people's stories right now, which is a weird place to be as a champion.
He's been a bystander in stories since he's got there. Telling his story is about him, and it was a bystander in the Roman story. Roman right now and what The Rock is doing is still bigger than anything Cody's doing. Cena getting 17 happens to be the fact that Cody has the title. You are correct. Cody's always been a bystander. I've been saying that since he came in.
So it's not his story to tell then, is what you're saying.
It's
so
never
Cena
been.
Turning heel. The thing is, this is like realistically, it boils down to this. Everyone's been saying forever they wanted a Cena heel turn. They've been talking about it forever. Julius even brings it up in the chat. Bray Wyatt was talking about it in the WrestleMania match that they had, and they definitely bring that up. Cena even did interviews after the fact about that whole thing and about the idea of turning heel would be good and how the fans have been clamoring for it. To give the fans what they want is a babyface thing to do. If the fans decide they're going to play along a little bit, oh, that's cool too. Cody is at the same level of Dusty was with Flair. And I love Dusty, but the chase was better than the reign. It's a really good point. A lot of people don't play back much of Dusty that was him as a champion. It's always him going for it. But not that Cody needs to keep going for it, but it's like the story was Flair and Dusty was a major part of that, right? But Flair's was the story. In this one, Cena's giving the fans what they want, and they're either going to play along by booing sometimes when they want to, or, which I think they're going to do for the most part because they like to play along, they like to sing Seth's song. Do we really think Seth is over? Do we think Seth is the top guy because they sing his song the way they do? Right. They don't do it like they do with Jay. With Jay, he comes out, and as soon as they stop the music, they start chanting one more time because they just want to dance with him again. Do it again, do it again, do it again. We're not done celebrating you. With Seth, the music stops and they sing for a little bit and then they stop. And then when Seth goes, sing my music, they'll go, okay, we'll play along. That's a Cena boo, is we're playing along. Hey, John Cena kicked me in the balls. Boo, he shouldn't have kicked you in the balls. But then when he starts talking about John Cena's coming for this, people start going, yay. And then they remember it's that yay boo bullshit like MJF gets. MJF's not a real heel. He's a babyface because he's given the fans what they want, which is an asshole to talk shit on the other guys. So they cheer when MJF comes out, and then they remember they're supposed to boo him. That's what we're hearing with Cena. They're cheering the mention of him because, oh my God, what Cena's doing is amazing. Oh my God, Cena's turned heel. Isn't this great? Everyone's talking about Cena turned heel. Jon Stewart talked about Cena turning heel and broke it down for his entire fan base because it's what the fans want. And it was a way to also alert the national media, guys, you're getting what you always wanted. Remember how you stopped watching and Cena never turned heel? You can come back now because he's heel. They're going to be excited to see Cena in that character. They're not booing a bad guy doing a bad guy thing. They're cheering Cena. And sometimes they'll boo when they need to play along, but it's not because he's a heel. It's because he's giving them what they want, and they want to play along right now.
So Cena did something for 6 minutes on TV. The entire country
did not need to go that long.
The entire country ran with it. And when Cody got his opportunity to play his part in the story, did anyone cheer the fact that he is going to put down this heel? No, because Cody sucks.
No, that's because they don't want. It's not. If they are given the opportunity to pick, which they are, do you want Cody to continue his reign, or do you want to see your favorite wrestler of all time do the thing that you wanted him to do and win that number one more time? Be the guy who's going to carry the torch. Because the thing is Cody's not close enough to 17. Orton is. Triple H was real close, but he can't do it now. And I do think it was a huge tell when John Cena went out later and said, I want to win 17, not for me, but for the guy who wins 18. I can come out and shake his hand. That was so telling to me that he needs to win because, for one, they don't know how much longer Ric Flair is going to be around anyways. But on top of that, he's not the Ric Flair that's getting cheered every time he comes out now. He's not the person you want bearing the flag of the most championship reigns of all time. They need to move on from Flair. Cena's the perfect guy to do that. Absolutely. So I think that when he said that, it also was the giveaway where we all go, oh, we're going towards that. So let's get on board. So Cody's all like, I'm going to get in his way. And we're like, boo, no, you're not. Because we want our champion of 17. Julie's saying he doesn't suck. He's just vanilla. And he goes, I could see Flair costing Cody the title in some way. I could see that too. And I do think that Cody needs a little something, but I don't think he's doing bad at all.
If you're in an ice cream store of 500 flavors, vanilla's not getting picked to be at the front. It's just not. So
you think that vanilla is not the top selling ice cream in the world?
Of course it is. Of course it is. Okay. Is it as good as non-vanilla options? No, but vanilla is so universal. That's exactly what he is. Cody doesn't suck. I agree. Okay. Cody doesn't suck. He's not vanilla bean ice cream. He has no extra flavor whatsoever.
He does. He's a representative of the culture. That's why he said I'm the captain now. He was representing the culture.
Okay. Cody sucks.
Julius, I sent you a link, by the way.
Fuck it. I won't even backpedal. Cody sucks. That's it. Cody sucks. He has an inability to be authentic and get a positive reaction. So he's the
only people I hear say that are the people who consistently said Cody needs to lose to Roman twice in a row. Everyone who fucking was riding Roman's dick like crazy, as you say, a Roman throater, as you say, which is you. It's hard to say it though when you're throating Roman. He's just so big. But
big dog. Busted
it's easier to talk when you're throating AEW because it's so little. But
that's also true.
The big dog Roman fans and the people who were always saying 3 years is not enough, those are the fan base. Those are strictly the fans I hear say that Cody's not cutting it. Anyone who was on the fence, anyone who ever went, this bloodline thing's running a little cold. How do we redo it? They're all on board with Cody as far as what he's doing. I've seen people critique this wasn't a good promo as this wasn't that. But this Cody sucks thing really sounds like, feels like petty, I miss Roman stuff, which is fine to be. Because ever since Sammy lost the IC title, I've not cared about the IC title. Because Sammy's my guy.
Okay. So
that doesn't mean
Cody
Breaker's doing a bad job.
Right. Saying Cody sucks it's like saying AEW sucks. There's so many other words I can use and a longer story to tell, and this whole conversation we can have, but it's summed up in one word instead of 1,000. You know what I mean? So like he just sucks because it's
perception is the one word.
The perception is he sucks.
No, your perception is how you're filtering
everything he presents. Is that okay? What was his last match?
Elimination Chamber.
Against who?
Cena. He lost. And Travis Scott. He was rough.
I wanted Cody to beat Roman the second time because that's where the story took it. But I didn't want him to win because I knew this would happen afterwards. It'd be very bland, very vanilla. 1,000%. I said it. I came on this fucking show and said it so many times that after he wins the title, nothing's going to happen. And nothing has happened. Nothing has happened with Cody to help any show or wrestler do anything at all.
But that's the same conversation we had about Roman after he beat Cody the first time. I even told you we're in his holding pattern. We kept talking about the holding pattern of the bloodline and how fucking stale it got. We talked about the holding pattern before they got Sammy. Once they dropped Sammy, we talked about the holding pattern again. The entire last reign, the year of Roman's reign, was so bad that you were the only one on here talking about how it should go on forever. We were talking about how it was so bland, how it was boring. It was the same old shit. I didn't like 2 years worth of Roman matches because they all ended the same exact way. They were all bloodline interference to a point of getting boring and being undone. So much so that the number one shill himself, Sam Roberts, said on his podcast, they've got to stop having interference this way every match. It's making them all a little too predictable, and it's going to begin to build a disinterest in this story. And it was true then, and it's true now. Your bias is not against Cody. Your bias is for Roman. So it doesn't matter what Cody's going to say or do or anything. You're looking for holes. You're in a reverse bias where, like, from when I watch Gargano, I can't see any good moves. All I see is what he's not doing. I can't watch CM Punk and hear authenticity when I know he's full of shit to begin with. There's no way that you're going to talk me into thinking CM Punk's actually very good at this because I watch him in a way where I'm never going to see that. It's the same way I watch Charlotte. I see where she fucks with the other person. I see when she shutter steps or double steps and short steps them. I see when she misses them and then backs up like it's their fault and points at them. You don't see when Cody's landing anything because you don't want to, because your bias is so heavy against him, which is also fine. But don't pretend that the entire reason people are cheering for Cena is because Cody's not good. That's just a stupid argument, dude. It comes from nowhere.
On. Stupid.
It's just a bad argument. You're better than that.
If his job is to be cheered, why has he not cheered? That's my point. He's
getting cheered all the time. He's not getting cheered when Cena comes out because Cena's a bigger babyface.
He's getting woe-oh'd in his music. That is it. Nobody's fucking cheering anything.
They cheer him all the time, and he's still the number one merch seller in the entire company. He's being cheered. The thing that you're not paying attention to is the fact that just Cena's a bigger babyface. Cena's a bigger babyface than Cody. That's what it is. So when people have to cheer one or the other, they're gonna cheer Cena. And even though they're supposed to boo Cody or boo Cena, they're gonna cheer Cena because he's giving them what they want. It's
And
not
they're
that
supposed
Cody's
to
not
boo
good
Kevin
at it.
Owens and cheer Cody, and they still cheered for Kevin Owens.
Kevin was doing incredible work, dude.
And that's my point. When's Cody going to do the incredible work to get the cheers? It's fact, man. Watch the shows back and listen to his reactions from the crowd. They're not fucking there. They're just not. He is a solid wrestler. I was a fan of Stardust. I was a fan of some of his indie stuff. And then when he was in AEW, he had the one match with Dustin and nothing else redeemable afterwards. And I literally just rewatched him and Seth at WrestleMania. The match was solid. He had zero awareness of his music and all those things, but he was presented to the nine. Like, I got goosebumps watching his presentation come out. Okay. He has the ability to do that, but he has zero understanding of who he is as a character to the crowd. Beyond a whoa, he has no fucking idea. Just over the last 2 weeks, he's finally learned how to hold the fucking title belt after a fucking year. We laugh at this house, myself, the missus, and Junior. We all laugh at him when he's holding the title backwards with the home plate hanging on his shoulder instead of towards his chest, so it doesn't fit on him appropriately. And then the last 2 weeks, he turned it around where the point of the plate is leaning towards his chest so he can get the belt on further onto his shoulder. Because he looks like a fucking goofball trying to hold the title for a fucking year. For a year, he looks like he can't hold the title.
That's my point. Do you see how all you're looking for is what you think he's doing wrong and not for what he's actually accomplishing? The idea that for the first 6 months of him holding that title, he brought it under his arm like it was the NWA title, is how he was originally
doesn't know how to hold the title.
No, because he was trying to represent his father's title. Because you're not looking for what he's doing. You're looking for what you don't like about him doing. But the argument
to understand Cody.
No, you don't have to be anything.
He's holding a belt 30 times the size of the NWA title, and I'm supposed to think it's cool that he's honoring his dad?
No, you're not supposed to think anything of it. He's just holding it because that's how he wants to hold it, because that's what he thinks about. Because when he grew up, that's what he thought about. I didn't like Roman how he slung it over his back. I thought that was disrespectful and shitty. You think it's the coolest fucking thing. You love the photos where he's not there.
He's carrying the weight of the company on his back.
Oh, so now I got to just assume that he's carrying the entire weight of the company and nobody else was ever. I got to be meta to like Roman.
Yep.
See, that's my point, is just the argument is what you're looking for, what he's not doing that you want him to do, and not for what's actually just happening. Right? And it's fine to hate someone that much, because I do it all. I just listed 6. I could list more.
I hear you. When
problem
Charlotte
isn't Cody.
When Charlotte
the problem
won that
is
women's
Cena's
title,
the biggest babyface in the world, even now.
Charlotte won that women's title for the very first time at WrestleMania in the Triple Threat. The first thing she did was put it over her shoulder and held it the right way. I said, you know what, Charlotte, carry a fucking title. And you know I can't say any nice things about her. But when I saw her hold that title that way, I was like, God damn it, at least she knows how. Like, it's
because she only grew up with titles. Her house always had titles.
Right. And Cody's didn't.
Because his dad had it taken away. That's why he had to get it back. He's never seen the title in his own house.
Because he don't fucking deserve it.
Julius brings up a good point, too. Austin literally dragged the belt, which is true, too. He would just hold it, fucking drag it out, and fucking throw it, and then keep running. Like, he fucking knocked the belt. But that was also part of that story, too, because he was the anti-corporate, anti-company. This title means this to me, but that's the company and all that shit. But
the problem is that... Can I just lay this out for you real quick?
Yeah.
The problem I have with Cody, and I don't disagree with you about me seeing the negatives because they are apparent. Cody is playing a version of this character that he believes is the best representation of this character that he can. And what I'm simply saying is that his representation and execution, it does not click with me at all. And based on crowd reaction, I'm not the only one. And the fact that he doesn't find that next level new gear, and it seems to be very cut and paste all the time, it's never going to click that way. It'd be great to see something dope. That's all I'm saying.
And I think it's just your... What was it? I thought you whispered I have to take the dog outside.
He sucks.
your perception of the crowd's reaction is also tainted, because I see and hear the crowd go nuts when he shows up. When his music starts, it's a little weird because it's the crowd goes nuts, and then they wait for their buck and woe because they like to sing along, and that's what the crowds do. And it's the same shit I don't like with Seth, but that's what they're waiting for. He gets reactions. Now, he doesn't get a massive pop with every fucking punchline, but at the end of the day, to try and pretend that the number one merch seller is not over with the fans, that the one guy who they can put on a poster and say they're going to be there means that room sells out, is not an accident. That was what they were testing with Cody while Roman was still champion. They took Roman off of tours and put Cody on and watched shit sell out. You know what I mean? They were not advertising Roman for a lot, and they only advertised Cody to show that the crowds are behind him, to see if they were, and it worked, and it is the way. So to pretend that he's not over at all is just ridiculous. They're cheering. They're just not fucking. I mean, the crowd also, because I've noticed it with even like LA Knight and even The Rock when he comes out, they don't seem to like go as nuts as long as they did a year ago for anyone. Because a year ago, LA Knight came out and it was for so long, and LA Knight, and it was crazy. Now he gets a cheer, he gets his pop, but it's another star on the show. They used to be a year ago, for whatever reason, they would hold that for so long, and they're just not holding it for anybody anymore. I think it's also been a change in the crowd because...
You mean the crowd? The crowd's not holding that reaction?
Yeah, the crowds aren't holding the reaction as they used to a year ago. Yeah. But I think part of that is because the same reason why we don't podcast like we used to. The show is just a good show, and we know what's happening, and we know who's there, and we know where it's going. It's really easy now to see the guy you like and go, there he is. Where before, a year and a half ago, the crowds couldn't fucking believe we were actually getting good content. It had been so long. It had been so fresh, because also for the last 3 years, all we had was Vince and Roman, meaning everything Vince did revolved around Roman. So now we had fresh blood. Now we had new things. Now we had people going nuts. People still love Roman. They never stopped loving Roman. They just wanted anything else also to grab onto. So the LA Knight's popping up, and it's, oh my God, after fucking male models, obviously, right? We started seeing a shift a year to 2 years ago in the content, such that the crowds were going more berserk than ever because they couldn't believe what we were getting. Now we expect it, we know it, and we're happy with it. So we're going to dance with and yeet. We're going to sing to Seth. We're going to cheer for LA Knight. But that surprise, I can't believe good shit's happening, isn't there anymore. You know what I mean? So these elongated cheers they're just not there. And I think it's because the crowd is just already as engaged as they're going to be.
I'm not going to disagree. Not going to disagree. In this new era of crowd noise, and however you want to describe it, there's highs and there's lows. There's standing claps and there's sit downs. And if the highs and standing claps aren't associated with this number one merch seller, then there's a larger percentage of the population. Kevin Owens used to say it all the time. John Cena is my kid's favorite wrestler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he's the top guy. Of course, he's the top guy. But I fight back. And you know I do this. So that's why it's fucking annoying that you're right, but also wrong. I give every wrestler the chance to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, Pete. Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong.
Tell me that what I'm seeing is not true. You can twist the other side of my argument all day long, and we can sit here, go back and forth. That's kind of the fun part of this show, period. But if, again, the highest of highs are not associated with your best guy, I'm sorry. He's got to step up. He's got to step the fuck up, and it's not changing. But I'll also turn it this way.
Oh, you're saying Cena versus Cody?
Either way, it doesn't matter who it is. It could be fucking Sheamus versus Cody, and Sheamus in the Cody spot for the last year. Like, whoever that person is, they have to be the one, regardless of who their opponent is, that is at that level when the time is put in. For instance, Jinder, right? They did it for a couple months. It didn't quite work out. By all means, okay. He was me too. He was a heel champion, right? And again, that moment with him and The Rock in San Diego was fucking perfect, right? A champion is announced, and he got booed, and it was amazing because that's what you need. And that I'll die on that hill. Being marked as WWE champion is way better than not being marked as WWE champion, regardless of what it looks like. Getting that next to his name, he'll always be that way. So, but my point is, like, Cody's in this spot. He should be getting those reactions specifically based on how he's presented, and it's just not there. It's happened with, well, really no other babyface. No other babyface has gone through this, been so high, been a champion for a year, but not gotten sustained crowd reactions. Who else? Who's been champion for this long and not gotten sustained crowd reactions?
Well, I mean, Cena for a while was, I mean, his reactions were really almost in a league of their own type stuff. I mean, Roman, it took a while for the crowd to warm up to him. You know, they were pretty against him for his first several title reigns. They never warmed up. Like, he was champion a number of times.
But they were never a year long. Everything was an experiment that got taken away.
I thought he was the Universal Champion after when he first got the Universal Champion the first time. I'm pretty sure that was a long time before he. You say what?
The time that he had to give up the title?
I don't remember if that was
I think it might.
Didn't he give it up twice?
Just the once.
I like how when you look him up, it says the
when he tore up his knee, and Roman won that one, but lost it to Sheamus on a cash-in.
WWE champion from 2015 to 2016. He never got cheered that entire year. Grand Slam champion 2016 to 2018. All the titles he had were there. He was not getting cheered. Oh, him and the Brock Lesnar stuff. And then just the return from leukemia there. I wish this had a little bit better layout of his actual.
Was he ever presented as a top babyface besides that 2-week period? Besides that 2-week period.
I'm not talking about a 2-week period. I'm talking about his first 6 years of competition. He was a babyface. He was the babyface in Shield. He was the babyface they turned on. Like, he was a babyface up until he came back from leukemia.
What did Triple H say during that time? That Roman is the best heel that we have. They were using his babyface presentation as a heel character during that time.
That was after he'd lost the title. You're asking who had the title as a babyface and could not win the crowd over? Roman. Roman absolutely could not.
Okay.
He was being pushed as a babyface at that time. It wasn't until after that they said, let's keep pushing him like this because it's working in this way. And how do we utilize it? But they also had gone so hard trying to push him as a babyface for so long that they had to do something.
The only people that rejected him back then were CM Punk throwers, and we know that. That's the only reason why he got booed, because everybody hated him.
Whatever the reason is, he didn't win him over. And at that time, Punk was gone. Your question was, who else has been a champion for this long and not won the crowd over? Roman Reigns. My point is not that Roman sucks. My point is that shit isn't as cut and dry as you're saying. If you think Roman's the greatest of all time, always,
he is.
You know what I mean? Roman couldn't do it. And Cody's actually getting a better response than Roman was getting at that time.
Roman getting booed during that time is better than the reactions Cody's getting now.
Which is cheers. Except for when Cena is out there because people will love Cena so goddamn much.
He's getting 10% cheers. He's not getting cheers. You say it as if he's getting the crowd to cheer. That's like saying that
crowd
Charlotte
stands up when he comes out.
Yeah, because you can't do this sitting down, even though I just did it sitting down.
You just did it sitting down.
Right, but I'm also not going to hit somebody's dick because they're standing up next to me.
That's not a reason to not stand up.
That is the reason to stand up.
No, it's not. Get a little bobblehead.
There's nuance to be had here, and neither one of us likes talking in nuance. I'm not saying that his run is a fail. I'm saying that he has an inability to make his character relatable, so everyone can cheer for him.
So everyone can cheer for him?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think gets universal cheers?
Becky Lynch.
Yeah, she's good. She's real
Bailey.
good. Yeah, Bailey's best. Best ever do it right there.
Yeah, Steve Austin.
Sammy's getting pretty fucking...
Sammy's close.
He's and pretty fucking up there right now.
If he ever says, I can't do this, I doubt myself again, I will tell Sammy, go fuck yourself for life. I will throw out my Sammy t-shirt. Like, I'm just not doing it. Kevin Owens will be universally cheered the second he wants to do something babyface, right? Yeah. Like that ability. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying Cody forever has to do that. He needs to have that ability. And I just don't, he doesn't harness his position to create that. I figured I was right. That's why I says it.
And so your whole thing is that Cody's not getting 100% massive cheers for 10 minutes when he comes out. Therefore, Cena is a heel.
There's nothing. My point is, there is nothing Cody ever says in his promos that gets the crowd to cheer for him 100% after his song goes off. So you want to watch the next time. Yes, he can throw a one-liner in there that's like, "Oh shit, that was dope," but it's not like, "But now I want to see him win." He never does that. He never does that.
People cheer when he wins.
How many of
them? How many wins or how many people?
How many people? Wins, there's countless because he never fucking loses. 2 people count as people. So do 15,000. So since WrestleMania, how many times has the entire crowd reacted that way for?
The crowd reacts. Your thing is this, is your whole argument is based off of a fallacy to begin with. You have to drop this argument that you think no one's reacting to Cody because you're not looking for the people. You're saying that you want 100% reaction. There's almost no 100% reaction to begin with anyways. And we've already broken down why we think the reactions are not what they were a year and a half ago for everyone across the board. There's an entirely different fan base watching right now. For one, they're paying a lot more than they were paying a year and a half ago just to go. So they're probably more willing to play along because if I got to spend $2,000 to get up front, I'm going to be a lot more invested than I was when I got tickets for free or $20, right? I'm going to do the thing. But your argument is completely based off of this concept that you have that you can't drop, that there is a split audience on Cody, and that's okay because that happens all the fucking time with every champion, including your favorites, including Roman. It's happened to Roman for his entire career. He's been split. It really wasn't until later on in his run, kind of almost when he dropped the belt, that he became like a super baby face. The second he dropped the Cody, everyone was just like, this is the fucking guy Roman's got.
1,000%.
Right?
1,000%.
Because he gave the crowd what they want. When you give them what you want, you're a babyface.
And Cody has nothing to offer the crowd.
He has nothing to offer you. You have to drop this concept that you're talking for the crowd.
What's he offering you?
I'm cheering him all the time. So is a lot of people. What you're missing is that you're talking on behalf of an entire crowd that you do not represent.
Damn.
You don't represent 100% of the crowd.
I'm not saying 100%. On behalf of them.
But you're making up percentages on top of that. We've all been in audiences where the whole crowd turned on someone and we all went, whoa, that's a lot.
Yes.
But was it 100? No. When we all turned on Ronda, that was pretty close to 100.
Yeah, it was close.
It was fucking brutal.
You were actually the one that was holding back the 100%.
Yeah. Well, no, I was in it, and then I started going, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
We're being a little much. Like, I don't like her, but hold on. What are we doing? But your argument based off of a crowd reaction that is not a sustainable place of logic to start with is just not the argument that Cody's a failure. He's not a failure at this. Cena getting cheered is not a Cody failure. Cena's the biggest babyface they've ever had all time. He's given the crowd what they want. He's going to get a bigger reaction.
Okay.
No matter how big we think he is. Because you know who got a bigger reaction than Cena? The Rock. When he came back every time. And Cena was the biggest babyface they had and the longest champion for a long time. You know who got a bigger babyface reaction than CM Punk when he was champion? Cena. Because he was a bigger babyface. Also The Rock. Because he was a bigger babyface. Why hasn't Punk been the WrestleMania main event? because there was always a bigger babyface who'd come in and stomp him out, usually The Rock. And I hope that's why we never see Punk in the main event to this day. I hope that Rock continues the trend to keep him out. But you can't pretend this argument of Cody not being the most cheered babyface in the world is a failure of his.
See, those are different things, though. John Cena getting cheered during Cody's promo is a Cody failure. He should, as he did when he mentioned John Cena, get Cena booed and get himself cheered during that promo. And the promo took a turn, as it always does with Cody, into a way where the crowd is disinterested, and it turns out that something else is more important. And by the end of that promo, it was, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Not, we want Cody, Cena sucks. Or let's go Cena, we want Cody. We want Cody, let's go Cena. None of those chants happened. It was, let's go Cena, Cena sucks.
Because Cena's the biggest babyface, and that's the biggest Cena chant of all time. Let's go Cena, Cena sucks is a Cena chant.
Where does Cody fit in? He's
the
a bystander
same place
in this
that
story.
Cena fit in with The Rock. The same place that CM
because
Punk
even
fit
during
in
those
Cena.
Rock promos, those promos with Cena and Rock, Cena was getting the upper hand. There was an ability for Cena to capture some of that audience. This is Cody's
that was when
turn
they're face to
without Cena
face.
being there.
Cody's
Cena's not
by
even
himself.
there and he can't win the crowd. Cena's not there and he can't win the crowd. That's my fucking problem. You put Cena in that ring too.
You
Babyface
said-
or not, he's stealing that.
You said that when he first mentioned Cena, they booed. And then you said, that's why I'm right, because they booed him when they mentioned him. And I'm the one who told you until they started to cheer him because they remembered how big of a babyface Cena is. And now your entire argument that Cena turned heel because he was booed when he was mentioned by Cody's promo is now undone by your argument that Cody couldn't keep the boos going because Cena's a bigger babyface.
It's up to him. It's not. So you're mentioning a couple different things. You're saying the crowd remembered that Cena's a babyface, so they cheered for him. That's Cody's responsibility to tell a story to maintain the heel that Cena is. That Cody's the babyface in this situation. He's got a fucking tampon in his ear because he's got a busted eardrum and can't maintain their reactions to cheer him as opposed to cheer Cena. He's supposed to have them at least
problem
on
Roman
his
had with
side.
Cena, the same issue Cena had with Rock, the same issue Punk had with Cena. You're putting Cody in a different light from all these people because you don't like Cody, not because
Cena
he's
versus
different.
Rock. Cena versus Rock. CM Punk versus Cena. On both sides, the babyface had their opportunity with the crowd to at least get an oh shit. Hogan versus Rock. There was moments where they wanted Hogan and moments where they wanted Rock. In these two particular promos, there was more love for the ability, like you said, for Cena to be there than there was for Cody. And the thing about Cody needs to do is get himself in position to say, hey, guys, I'm the one that's supposed to be the good guy here. And he's not doing that. And he's not doing that because he fucking
on a clap back without someone else there. You're talking about dual promos. These guys don't replay their solo promos because they didn't go over. Because it didn't matter.
But you're referencing those feuds. And there's ability within
and your
those
example
feuds.
in those feuds is when they were
what
face
some
to
of
face.
Cena's best promos were when Rock wasn't there. And it wasn't with The Rock getting cheered during those fucking promos. Some of Cena's best promos by himself with a microphone without The Rock there. It wasn't fucking let's go Rock with the crowd's reaction. It was Cena getting the oh shits. Can't believe this is fucking awesome.
And
right?
do you realize
Without
what you're
The Rock
referencing
being
right
mentioned.
now?
I'm referencing the fact that Cody can't get positive reactions without Cena there. That's what I'm referencing.
You're referencing the breaking point of the Cena character. That was when he was at his hottest. That's when Cena became the biggest babyface ever. And it's the only two times he ever even main evented WrestleMania was against The Rock. Cena couldn't get to the main event of WrestleMania without The Rock. Go back and look, dude. He is not main evented before or since The Rock. That was a Cena thing. Quit trying to put Cody in this different light just because you don't like him. And your whole reference to the Cena Rock promo at the end of the second year of the rivalry is Cena breaking through. Cody hasn't had the opportunity to break through on anything yet. We're not that far into his career, right? He's fucking 100 years old for all of them. They all started fucking when they were 9, I guess. But we're not as far in all that run that we were with Cena at that time. Cody still has a lot to go, and you're putting Cody up against Cena when he broke through and became the best. You're putting him up against Roman 2.5 years into a 4.5-year failure beforehand. You're comparing Cody right now to your favorites at their peak. And my point is that's only because you don't like Cody, not because he's not good or skilled. Watch those other motherfuckers struggle, because it's out there. They all struggled a lot. It's why Punk quit the whole fucking business. He couldn't break through. And he's still considered one of the greatest by a lot of idiots.
Cody has spent a year without someone on the other side of the microphone. How much time do you want to give him? You said we're not
Roman
far
did
into
that
it.
for
It's
3
been a fucking year.
Besides, and we all know. Oh, Julius got to go.
Julius. Thank you,
Julius. He did say the only bigger babyface than The Rock or Cena combined is the glass breaking and everybody pops, which is true too. If Stone Cold comes out against any of these people, he's getting a bigger reaction. You're trying to base everything off of a reaction of a dude who's out there every single week, so he doesn't get a surprise reaction, is just unfair, and it has a lot to do with you just saying Cody's not your favorite.
I'm literally talking about, as Cody has the microphone, his ability to have the crowd cheer him as a babyface. It does not stick when he's out there. It just doesn't. And it's not compared to these other ones. You keep bringing up examples, so I'm going to defend my point to those examples. You bring up Rock and Cena, you bring up Cena and CM Punk. There's moments, again, in all of those rivalries where, yes, there's lows and there's highs. But Cody's low has been the same low for the 2 years he's been around, 3 years he's been around. It's the same low. So that's part of the bias. But when you're out there by yourself telling a story with a black eye and a tampon in your ear and the crowd stops cheering, it's because you suck at your job. There's my bias.
It's so much like you're not willing to acknowledge the idea that your perception is biasing you towards the reality of the whole situation that's going here. You can't drop your hatred for Cody enough to acknowledge that whatever Cena's doing is what Cena's doing. Because this entire conversation about Cena being a heel, being a big babyface move, is hindered by your entire fucking push that Cody's a failure, therefore Cena is getting a cheer. Not that the turn was a failure of getting a heel because it was a babyface thing to do. Not that it was the biggest move in the history of WWE by a lot of people's fucking, I don't know, they say that. But it's all fucking out there. And it's the biggest national news story we've had in wrestling in a decade, apart from them joining forces with TKO. This is the second biggest thing to come out of that. And your argument is not that that Cena is so fucking good and such a babyface that the heel turn is messy. Your argument is Cody sucks because I hate Cody because Cody's no good.
So then let me say this then. When he came out, the first time he came out, the very first thing I said when he was advertised for that show, too soon. Too soon. It still didn't breathe enough. Cody.
Who's he? Cody coming out right after? Yeah.
Yeah. Cody, because he didn't come out Raw, right? He came out, or no, he did Raw because it was,
I think he did Raw and SmackDown
Saturday, off Sunday. He did Raw and then he did SmackDown, right? Whichever it was, it could have been Raw, could have been SmackDown. Either way, it was too soon. If him being attacked by 3 people didn't leave him out for a week, where's the sympathy? And that's from my judgment. But it felt like that from the crowd as well. That this is too soon to see him. Let this all sink in. Because at the end of the day, you're correct, right? The turn is so surprising, so epic, so awesome. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves that it happened. Okay? Yep. I do too. The biggest reason why I love it, when we step away from this entire argument of it, it's the best way for Cena to win 17 because nobody wants to see a good guy get everything he wants. But the bad guy taking it, and not only that, the redemption arc afterwards of him feeling so guilty for having to go through these ways to get it is going to make him even more endearing than he ever was. So, like, I love all of that part. I just want Cody's part in it to actually be sympathetic. And I just don't feel that. I especially don't feel that if he's just going to continue to get up after getting his eardrum blown out, had the biggest black eye we've seen since Kevin Owens 2 weeks ago. Like, these things, it all adds up on a perception of me and viewers like me, because there's a certain podcaster out there who likes to tell people how they should feel about everyone. I'm just letting you know how I feel, and I know there's people who feel differently. You're saying these things about the crowd. I'm pointing at you because you're over here. You're saying these things about the crowd as if I'm saying everyone looks at it that way. Not at all. I am speaking for those who don't have a podcast and do see wrestling like me. That's the whole point of the Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast, twtakes.com, TW Takes Podcast on all platforms. That looking at it this way and going, God damn it, Cody, will you at least give me the care so I can actually boo Cena? Because I don't want to golf clap at any match. I want to be surprised. I want to be shocked. I want to root. I want to cry. I want to do all these things. Cody's got his issues there.
So the reason Cody's back so soon, which he shouldn't be, I think Cody, Rock, and Cena should be off TV for a month. And then they all come back kind of one at a time, trickle in. But the problem is Cody's their number one star, and they need to sell tickets by having him on the card. So that's why he's there. He's their number one draw. It's the same reason they bring back a lot of people too soon. He was just their draw because he's over. So that's what that is. And I agree. He shouldn't be out there talking. Although he does look pathetic with a black eye, which is nice, right? Because that will lean to sympathy when it comes to the video packages later. They're going to cut back to when he came back after getting his ass kicked, right? He's the dude who gets up even when he doesn't think he should probably stand up. He's the dude who enters the Hell in a Cell when he really should not be in that Hell in a Cell, and we all know it.
And wins it anyway.
Because he's just so good. He's just so good at wrestling. The thing that's also so great about this Cena heel turn being perfect is it does exactly everything you're asking it to do of Cody. Cena has now become a heel. He's going to beat up the guy because, like you said, we don't want two baby faces going at it. Cody's not going to turn heel on Cena and have it make sense.
Right.
We want to see Cody get broken down. And that's what's going to happen here. You have a mean Cena who's going to break down Cody and take away everything that Cody has fought for. Because we've now seen for years how much Cody is willing to fight for what he believes he deserves and has earned. And now you're going to have mean-ass evil Cena come in and rip it away and be a dick about getting it back. And you're going to have a dual redemption story there of Cena becoming a good guy. You might not even have him cross paths again. It might take Orton taking down Cena and then... Right. Cody taking down Orton, like you might get a roundabout, but you're going to have Cody lose it all. And that's going to make him even more sympathetic.
I think what made the most sense that you said is all of them should have been off TV and trickle in. And my first thought was, and Cody should come back first because we need our hero. We need to see where our hero is coming from. But what should have happened is The Rock should have never went to the press conference and he should have come out Monday and been the first one to come out Monday. Yeah. Don't sit. Number one, we can't see Cena. I know he's advertised for Monday, and even when he shows up Monday, he shouldn't speak at all. We do not need his definition of what all this is, because if he speaks, it gives an opportunity for people to get on board, and we don't want that, But if you have The Rock come back and say, simple as this, I offered it, he didn't want it, I had a backup plan. Oh well, because there was people, corporate Cody and all this shit. Like, this is so fucking dumb to fantasy book this, to have this go where it's going. If The Rock, because The Rock was really the only one undamaged, right? I mean, Cena too, but he went through an elimination chamber. Now he's tired, but also his soul is taken. He needs to recover, right? Like all these things. Have The Rock come out, be the first one to say it. And then The Rock can introduce Cena when Cena comes out. And then they can do something the following week. And then all of a sudden, Cody comes back. That's your cheers. That's your valiant moment. That's where you get the rest of us, these guys, these dickheads, these terrible wrestling takers to go, fucking right, Cody, let's go. Go fucking get it. Take this shit down. But to have Cody be the first one to show up with no more bad guy shit happening, it's like, well, okay. Hopefully Cody gets the redemption against himself. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just out there on his own, and it's fucking unfortunate because I'm watching it the same way going like, he's just out here every week talking about guys who aren't willing to come around, and it makes it look a little weird. It makes it look a little pansy. Why is he there, but his opponents are not? Does he care more than them? Do they just not give a shit? Do they undermine him? Are they undermining the company? Like, it's confusing. It's muddled, and that's my whole point about the Cena heel turn and the Cena heel story we have so far is it's muddled as fuck. part of the reason Cody's getting mixed reactions right now too is because the entire "I want your soul" thing was so fucking weird and outrageous that Cody coming out 2 or 3 weeks in a row and saying, I don't know, should I sell my soul? What about my soul? No one wanted to see him waver. They wanted to see him tell Rock to fuck off immediately. I want your soul. Fuck off. You can't have it. It's already theirs. The fact that he was toying with it for 2 or 3 weeks and then decided he'd already given it to the fans didn't want that. They wanted him to initially say, no, you're our guy. You're not his guy.
Right. And again, part of my problem with the Cody character, okay. So I'll give
That's
a pass.
A Rock problem.
Well, it's a bit of both, right? And it's a WWE problem too, because you said it.
Yeah.
If he's the guy that needs to be on the bill to get the tickets, then he has to show up on these shows to make sure that he does something.
Yeah.
But what did all these old school guys do? They protected their character, right? If Stone Cold was given the same message and was like, this is what you need to do. You need to show up every Friday. Well, I'm not going to say that I'm toiling with this emotion because they know my answer already. So I'm not going to tell them that I don't know what's going on. And they would find a way to keep the microphone out of his hand to not have to do that, to not show this thing. Or he wouldn't show up and you'd find a way to get a different reaction from someone else. Maybe they should have brought Roman back sooner. I don't know what the real answer is. But you're right. Like, part of me not being able to invest in Cody fully is these character errors like this, where number one, you're right. The Rock problem, Cody was the wrong guy to do it with. To say, I'll give you everything you ever wanted and I'll take your soul for it. Well, what was Cody's story?
Yeah,
all he ever wanted. Right. He got what he wanted.
He got everything he wanted.
Right. He's not going to need anything else. He'll never need anything else. So
you're already immortal, dude. You did it.
Right. Right. Like it means nothing anymore. So that offer made no sense, which is why I knew he was never going to take it storyline wise. And it would make more sense for someone who has something at risk to take it. So when I first saw someone fantasy book Cena, I was like, son of a bitch. That's what makes the most sense. Because the only one who has the one thing, the greatest accomplishment of all time on the table is the perfect person to take that offer. Yeah. And because it's Cena, even when somebody says it right now after it happens, you still go, but would he really? Well, he did. And that's why it's so great.
Yeah.
So you're right. Like it is a Cody problem. It is a Rock problem for having this particular side of the story happen with Cody. It's a Cody problem for not taking enough ownership of his character to toil with it for weeks before Elimination Chamber. It's a WWE problem for not having some type of backup to sell tickets to leave Cody off TV. But that's what should have happened to make this feel more authentic, if you will. Because we talked a little bit pre-show about the fact that all of this stuff is way too wide open now, right? The curtain's peeled way too far back. And
it's way back.
I don't that part.
I do think that your Cody problem is it's at best incredibly unfair to Cody to suggest, because we didn't say it was a Becky problem for her to cut a heel promo the night after she turned babyface and everyone cheered. It was Becky doing what she was supposed to do. It was Becky being a good soldier. No matter how much and we know she did say, I don't think this is the right move. They said, you're going to do it. So we just don't know what happened in the back. Cody may or may not have stood up for it. I don't know.
Listen, so I'm going to stay with you there. So please stay with me there. That was one night, right? And from that one night where Becky went and did what she was supposed to do, got the confirmation of what her character is, and then they move forward in a different direction because they listen to how things go, right? Cody's been doing this for 2 fucking years. And it's getting the same mid-reaction. Selling a ton of merch. Go ahead. Sell all the fucking merch in the world. Go ahead. AEW sells merch too. Right? So, like, whatever. There's character correction that can happen from the person who's doing it. Austin Creed, Xavier Woods, right? Risked his entire fucking career knowing what was right for his character. Cody's not doing that.
But you're also
Cody's the good soldier all the time.
We're also both talking about 2 different worlds in the idea of that was how you dealt with Vince at the time. Xavier Woods goes to Vince and says, I'll do this one promo. If I don't get the reaction you want, I want to get, then fire me. And Vince says, okay. We don't know how Triple H is running things in the back. And we don't know that Cody's not going to Triple H and saying, hey, man, I don't know if I should be out there right away. And Triple H is saying, trust me, stay the course. Triple H has been doing a lot of stay the course. And I even talked about when he first took over. He likes to book slow. I feel like I'm wearing this as a joke, my SmackDown ref shirt. I haven't seen SmackDown since it left Fox because USA doesn't put it on the app through the Peacock Universal. Peacock owns USA. I own Peacock Universal, but I cannot access the USA app through it and watch old Raws or SmackDowns. But because of their deal with Hulu going ends up, they never changed the contract that they had with Peacock about SmackDown. So they're still getting SmackDown a month later. So I don't watch this shit at all now. I have no idea what's happening on SmackDown. I watch Raw. I watch the PLEs. If somebody sends me a YouTube clip and says, you just can't miss this one, I'll watch it. And I do that. But I'm not hunting it down the way that I was before. So, and I also don't feel like I'm missing anything. Every PLE I've seen since stopped watching SmackDown, I know exactly what's going on. I don't feel out of the picture at all. I get it because they book so slow that month-to-month PLEs is actually just fine. There's not a lot going on between. And I even mentioned that with Roman. When in his whole last year, I said it was static. We talked about how for weeks nothing happened. He would just go out there and say something. People going like, it's the little things along the way. But you even watch the recap videos, and there's months and months missing between thing happened and thing happened. It's just, I don't know. I'm just saying that like maybe Cody could be a lot stronger in the back. I don't know how stronger he is in the back. I don't know how Triple H is booking stuff, and I know he likes to run real fucking slow. I don't know that, and I also don't know that Cody would have an easier time standing up to Triple H versus Vince. I honestly think that Cody's always seen an elevated Triple H in a way.
More. Yeah,
exactly. He might stand up to Vince a little bit more than he would to Triple H. He might go, you know.
Yeah,
it's hard. I'm not saying there's no blame. I'm just saying you're really quick to put blame in some really gray areas.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair because as long as we can agree that the area is gray and there's room for interpretation, growth, and execution, I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. Yeah, that's
my whole point with the Cena thing. I love it. It's a mess, you know.
Well, I think what I briefly fantasy booked out is the real purpose of all of this, right? That you can't have babyface Cena who gets to talk about his retirement tour winning 17 because it looks gratuitous. But if you do something that's going to shock the world and blow his mind, and then he wins 17 by doing something he's never done, by the end of the year, we still get exactly like you get these emotions attached to Cena that we weren't expecting. So when he gets 17 and ultimately loses it, and then goes through the redemption arc of how do I get back to what I was because I can't believe I did that. Like, you have the ability to have Cena's last match be the biggest cheers he's ever gotten in his career, not because it's his last match, but because the story brought us there. That's fucking cool. That's cool. So the only way you get there is by this Cena heel turn, and the only way you get him winning 17, because the way I fantasy book 17, it would be his last match. He would finally win it, and he'd be the only guy to go out last match on top with 17, because how do you get him to lose then, right? Like you're writing the win just for him to lose? No. Now you're writing the win because you need him to fucking lose. He's a fucking asshole heel, dirtiest motherfucker out there. Needs to lose. You know what I mean? Like, so this is perfect. This is perfect.
Yeah. Because if he wins as the babyface, and then it's like, okay, who's gonna beat him and take the torch, right? Where if he's a heel, you're like, someone's got to fucking stop that guy,
right?
Right. And I do think that the heel turn is best for both. I think it's best for Cody to garner him some extra sympathy. I think that if Cody's gonna lose it to anyone, it should be a Cena, especially because he just took out Roman, and we talked about it when Roman was 2 years in. Whoever's champion after Roman is fucked.
Yep. Because
you're just not going to be that Roman champion. You're not going to be that 3-year guy. You're not. So how do you make it seemingly impactful? So Cody struggled immediately with the title because he just was a new champion whose entire story is that I'm just fighting for this, guys. And that's a little tough to get on board with for a lot of people. And so he struggled in the beginning of it. Now he's got his footing of like, dude, I'm a forever champ. But now we have a dude who we're like, this guy, even though he hasn't won in 3 years, he could take this motherfucker out. Yep. And that's I think it's best for all of them. I think it's the thing that makes the most sense.
I remember we talked right before the final boss even came into something, when Randy Orton was facing Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble, and it was obvious that Cody was winning the Rumble. It was the perfect time for Roman to lose, because the only person he can lose to was a legend or a legend killer, right? And had Randy beat Roman, and The Rock came out on Monday and faced Roman face to face for losing, now you get the Roman Rock match, and you get Cody finishing his story against someone attached to his actual story. It's the most poetic ending to that story you can have, but that's why I'm an asshole with a podcast and not someone who writes for WWE, because I'm too good at this shit. But going this route, like you said, anyone who loses or anyone who beats Roman is fucked. They bear the brunt of the bloodline, but that's why they kept Cody in that bloodline story the whole time, right? So he is attached to the demise of it and will always be. Yeah. But going forward, how does it solidify the next guy? And we talked about that, right? It can't just be a Jey Uso who is essentially attached to it, because he's not going to rise to that next level. But who is at that next level that can win? It is a Randy. It is a Cena. It is a Roman. It is a Rock. Even if The Rock beat Cody for the title, it would look so fucking gratuitous, but it would make sense. If
it would make sense and it would get the reactions. You'd get the boos where you expect them.
Exactly. And then wanting to see, because I think everyone's fantasy booked, well, lose at WrestleMania, then Cody gets it back at SummerSlam. Like, they're not telling those kind of stories anymore. Like you said, Triple H book of storytelling is fucking thick, man. Like he is slow playing all these things. So, I love the idea. We're here now agreeing on things, which is fantastic. And we went an hour and 11 minutes talking about one thing.
Yeah, well, it's the only thing going on right now worth talking about. What else is happening that you fucking... I mean, I know some shit going on in the indies and some cool shit that I want to touch ground with at a later date.
Did you watch the Elimination Chamber?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch the women's tag match because there's no way I was going to watch that.
Just based on participants?
Yes, I have no desire to see Trish Stratus ever wrestle again. I have no desire to have ever seen Nia wrestle to begin with. And Candice LeRae is just so sloppy that the best case takeaway was going to be that Tiffany looked good. And I know she's going to look good. And so I just no desire whatsoever. The women's Elimination Chamber match was solid. I even said it then, is I personally know it's a good match, Io versus Bianca, but I don't feel like there's any story there, and I don't feel like I care. It could be a Raw match, and it would be fine.
It feels like...
And I didn't want to see Bianca Rhea again either, to be honest.
That whole setup for the Elimination Chamber, with Jade coming out, attacking Naomi, Bianca looking so distraught. The second she was acting in the cell... or in the chamber, I was like, okay, cool. She's not going to win because she's going to be too distraught to win. Her friends are fighting. And then she won. And I was like, but why? So wait, Bianca did it. Bianca's the one that did it. She caused the turmoil between them. And then that's why I don't fantasy book, because Bianca didn't do it. Naomi did it. And now Bianca still doesn't care enough because she's winning while going through these emotions. Again, make it make sense, right? But cut back to the chamber. Rhea comes out, Bianca's there, then Io comes out, and it's like, okay, we're gonna end up with a triple threat at Mania, and it looks like that's what they're doing. To your point, why? What's the story? Well, the story is it's a Triple H love letter to himself. These are his girls from NXT that he gets to boost up in one moment. That's the only thing I can guess.
But we're not going to get a triple threat of Bianca, Naomi, and Jade at Mania because Bianca won the Elimination Chamber. So we're going to get Bianca.
We're getting Bianca, Io, and Rhea at WrestleMania, which, to your point, makes zero sense because Bianca's story has nothing to do. Yeah, sorry. Bianca. But that's
I thought the same thing when I saw that triple threat. I was like, oh, we're getting triple threat, but okay, I guess.
Real quick, before we go that far, exactly my point and your point. I just said at the end of the chamber when they come out, triple threats happening. You're like, yeah, but we're not getting Bianca, Naomi, and Jade. That's the story that's being told. What they're giving us is not the story being told. So the investment into a match that's going to be fucking amazing is zero.
That's
right.
The problem.
I know the match is going to be awesome. We love the athleticism and presentation of all three of these women. Bianca, to me, has less of an ability to have fantastic matches as Rhea and Io do. But the three of them together are going to do something fucking awesome. And we know that. I wish I fucking cared. To shoehorn Bianca into this is a Triple H love letter move. It can't be anything else.
It's got to. I mean, because ultimately, when you're like, was there anything else we're talking about? In my mind, no. And you're like, would you like watch the Elimination Chamber? And it goes in my mind. I was like, yeah, we just talked about everything important from that. Because
exactly,
the match was so good, and it ended with Bianca's win. Who I've been a massive Bianca champion for a long time. Try and find me say something bad about Bianca. There's the hours and hours of footage of me talking good about Bianca. I have no issues with her. I think she's amazing. I think she's a generational talent. I do think she's one of the top 10 women's wrestlers in the entire world and has been for years. I think she's a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame if she retired yesterday. I wish that I gave a shit at all about this match, knowing full well that the masterful work that her, Naomi, and Jade are doing is going to where. Like, I just don't understand. It just, to me, I saw Bianca win. I was like, well, that's nice for Bianca. And then we see the fucking promo with her and Rio and Io. And I was like, okay. But I see her and Naomi and I go, this is everything Naomi's ever asked for. Naomi has gone on a bunch of podcasts and done a bunch of interviews before where she says, look, I've had my WrestleMania moment. I won the world championship in my hometown at WrestleMania. What more can I want? She goes, all I want right now. I mean, I feel like she said this. She either said this in an interview or she said it to a producer lady. I don't remember which now, but either way, we publicly put out anything that we had talked about at the time. That all she wants now is a story. She just wants a really good, memorable story that she can sink her teeth into and that people remember that story. This is it. The Naomi Bianca stuff is it. I've seen a lot of people who've talked a lot of shit about Naomi for a long time, and I kept telling them they're fucking up their own ass with it. Because I'll say that. Saying right now they care more about Naomi than they ever have in her entire career. And I'm like, that's exactly what we're doing here. And that's why this matters. So the idea of actually pulling Bianca out of that story and dropping her off somewhere else so we can get Jada and Naomi one-on-one, to me it's a bummer at best because Naomi's got a lot of weight to carry there.
Yeah.
Jade's not bad, but she's not great. And Naomi is really fucking good. I don't know if she can carry Jade through a match that comes off as memorable as the story we've had to get here. But a triple threat, I think would. I think the three of them all together, Naomi, Bianca, Jade in a match, I think could be the match that does get remembered. I don't know that the one-on-one does it or the other triple threat. I don't even know if Rhea, Io, and Bianca, I don't know if that match in and of itself gets remembered with the length of time that this story could with the right finish.
Yes.
And
especially with and they Easter egged.
And cheers to Just in Time. Just in Time, if you want a link,
cheers, brother.
Just let me know.
The ability for them to kind of draw their own Easter eggs within their own.
I'm gonna leave you alone for a minute, but I'll hear you. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So between Bianca and Naomi and Jade, right? They've Easter egged their own story. Jade and Bianca as a tag team never really wore the same outfits, right? But Naomi and Bianca, towards the end of their run, they were dressing the same, right? And they've presented a lot of light and dark colors in their gear through all of these different moments. And for even like, fuck, man, it bothered me so much that Naomi was the reveal because Bianca, night after winning and her girls fighting each other, or and the night after on Raw, she's wearing the most gregarious outfits. She's so flamboyant now, being this Hollywood version, as if the girls don't matter anymore. They're not holding her down. It was so obvious in front of our face that Bianca was the one to cause this turmoil to get them out of the way so she can go be a single star again. And that again, just like with Cody, and I said this about CM Punk against Eddie Kingston in the street fight. You have a presentation and a crowd reaction that is at the palm of your hands. And the second you choose to flip that on, the second you grab your character awareness and execute, bang, right? That's when you hook for positive or negative. Again, the desire, doing your job to be booed because we want your character to get what's coming to them is different than I don't like you, I'm a boo you. So if Bianca was able to take this moment and look distraught, come out in torn gear and a fake black eye because you're bothered by what your girls are doing, so you barely won the Elimination Chamber. No, she came out in this big ass feather coat, wore it again on Monday, glasses, looking Hollywood and shit, like she's now cock of the walk. That type of thing is doing a disservice to the story that's being told in front of us. Now, I'm not saying that Bianca had to turn heel, but she could have looked more beat up because of what was happening with her girls. No, Naomi barely makes her cry on SmackDown, and then she just walks out so Jade can do whatever she wants to Naomi. Now Bianca's out of the story, like you were saying. It's just Naomi and Jade now. Like, okay, cool. Do I want them carrying that full story? It's going to be tough. I'm going to watch. I'm going to try to cheer. Hopefully I do. Not sure who I should boo for, because why should I care about Jade? I wish I would care about Jade. So it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up for me. Yeah. But there has to be the ability to hold on to that character. That was my biggest problem with all of it, is that Bianca didn't come out like she just lost her friends. Bianca came out like she was top dog again. And I'm like, well, I guess you don't care about what's happening with Naomi and Jade.
Yeah. I think that like you said, we haven't had enough Jade to cheer for. So the idea of Naomi turning on Jade makes Naomi the heel. It doesn't immediately equate, because like you said, the partnership with Bianca and Naomi was so good and authentic, and they were such strong friends. And like you said, they're dressing like each other. She's making gear for both of them to match. They're doing their fucking TikToks, doing the Bring It On stuff, all of that. When she says, I did it for you, B, because I knew that she was in the way of us becoming the friends that we should be, you almost go like, was Jade a bitch? You know what I mean? Like, right. I think that even that turn, like you said, we're getting Naomi versus Bianca. And if I'm honest, I don't know who to cheer for.
Right.
Because I do believe and care for Naomi so much longer than I have with Jade, that when I hear Naomi say, I did it for you because it was the only way we could have all of this, I go, well, shit, maybe Naomi's right. And Jade was a bitch. Maybe she should be taken down. And then to have Bianca walk out on Naomi too, and you're like, what the fuck is that about? Like, Naomi is pleading her case. You don't even want to hear it. Like, I'm telling you, I feel like that the turn being Naomi was a misfire, in that it doesn't make me think less of Naomi. It makes me wonder less about Bianca and Jade. So I don't know that we're getting the cheers that we want. Just in time, bringing up the point, though, he said he's glad that it wasn't Bianca just because that's the dream match of IWC, which is true. From the moment Jade showed up, it was, we got to get Jade and Bianca one-on-one at Mania. But I'm not wanting a one-on-one. I'm wanting a triple threat myself.
Well, not just that. I want the story, and I want the story to make sense. So if the story is at least Bianca manipulating the situation to get through Mania to be the champion, and then on the back end have it. So all of this from jump, right? Like, who gave the footage of Raquel and Liv being around the ambulance, right? The dumb fucking footage. Keep that going. Keep pushing the narrative that we don't know who it is, and have these moments exist because someone's pulling the strings. Because what you're telling me is that Bianca's winning in spite of. What did Naomi get out of any of this? Being tag champ again? Being able to be partner again? Like, okay, but they also had a 3-on-3 at WrestleMania. So, like, what? Like, it does. This whole thing literally has done nothing for no one. So no one's gotten the benefit out of this. And my point of it being Bianca, where I agree with you, Justin, like, if the Bianca reveal happened after WrestleMania And it was like, and yeah, it was me because you were in the way of me getting this. And she has the title. And then you run the story, you at least get the juice. But right here, like you're saying, it's now just on the two of them to figure this out. It's a blow off at Mania, and then nothing happens afterwards. Okay, like I don't know, like
yeah.
I wish them well. I'm gonna watch and hope that it goes well. But like you said, it's a lot of weight to carry.
It is. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's. I mean, it's why I was kind of dismissive of it to begin with. Was that, to me, this also is really messy in a way that it complicates it to a point of like, how much can I care about when you just step just left of the point every time? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've been on this ride, and we've talked about it before, that we have found that so much of wrestling at this point is very paint by numbers and in order. And it's why we don't come on here weekly and bitch and moan about everything being a mess, is because it's not a mess. And so it makes sense. But here's one where the swerve was such that you go, oh, the swerve is that it's not the story. Like, that's a bit heavy handed to expect me to carry.
Well, the swerve is the obvious, right? Like in the turn, it's always to get ahead, right? So it's the one who's perceived as lower on the totem pole that does the damage. So
yeah,
in the obvious terms, it's Naomi being jealous because she's not Bianca or she's not Jade. But if it was Bianca because Jade's trying to take her spot, that makes more sense. But why would you have the one? So again, it's the obvious, right? So there really is no turn there. There really is no swerve there.
Well, yeah. And that's my point, is that it being Naomi almost felt like the swerve because it was obvious from the get-go. And then there was a couple things like an Elimination Chamber where Jade attacks Naomi, so obviously she's the one. But then you see the way that Bianca's taking off her coat the second she sees Jade. You see her start kind of like squaring up. Why was she not expecting Jade to come give Naomi a hug and attack Liv, right? You can see that Bianca's getting ready right away. So then part of me goes, I wonder if their big swerve is going to be that we swerved the swerve, bro, and that they're going to turn out after Mania that Bianca actually did do it and Naomi did the thing to covering for her, and so that way we could get Jade on herself and then fucking have Bianca interfere, some shit like that. And I don't want that kind of mess with something that's just so well put together now in this way, that to me that starts feeling like swerve for swerve's sake, which gets a little Vince Russo-y, which sometimes work and sometimes doesn't.
It would lead to the point of why did Bianca have nothing to say to Jade after that promo? Bianca's so upset at Naomi when she leaves the ring and Jade shows up. There's no Jade, I'm sorry. There's no Jade, don't do this. None of that. Is this Naomi just taking the fall for Bianca for later? I don't mind that idea. But like you said, it just makes mess for mess sake.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was, much as I mean, and I even told you at the end of the day, right now, the person I'm cheering for the most is Naomi. And I think that's the one they want me to dislike. Right. But right now, I'm really on Naomi's side by the way this is being told. Like, I don't know. I mean, outside of that, the other Elimination Chamber matches we had was Sammy KO, which I loved it. It was what it was. I'm surprised that you would give KO the win, because it felt like that this was a good time for Sammy to do what he says he's going to do. And he had promised he was going to do something here. Although you do have a weekend unsanctioned Sammy. So this is the reverse Cody Seth. Like, you have a reason why it makes sense he might lose in a match that he ought win. The thing that bothers me about it the most is that it immediately culminated in Randy Orton's return. So it feels like we're going towards Randy Orton versus KO or a triple threat. And at the end of the day, I think all I really want is a one-on-one Sammy that really, really hits in a WrestleMania. And I don't know if we need to muddle that up even more. I thought that this might lead to, especially when it was the 1, 2, 3, it was so definitive that I was like, I don't understand how you can do another match with these two. Because I thought maybe you go from this to a Mania Last Man Standing. Maybe there's some sort of weird thing that happens at the end with maybe an interference, or maybe KO gets the win in a shitty way, but at the end, Sammy stands right back up. And like, I thought that might happen, right? Sammy might lose, but immediately get up and kind of like stumble like he's still willing to fight. and then you could lead towards, oh, we'll do a last man standing at Mania. I don't know where we go with Randy in this that makes me excited. Randy Orton versus KO sounds fine. Obviously, it would be a good match, but I'm not as excited about that as the story, like you said, that we've been telling at this point year after year and over this whole year. Sammy KO to culminate in Toronto is probably cool for them. But again, I don't cheer moments for them. I cheer moments I like and what I want, right? So just because that's cool for them and that probably felt like Mania to them, it didn't feel like Mania to me. And I want them at Mania. You know what I mean?
Well, that was kind of my point too. Like, oh, why would they do the unsanctioned match now? I was like, well, because we're getting Hell in a Cell at Mania. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Hell in a Cell or Last Man Standing.
Yeah. Like, give me some fucking true blow off shit at Mania. And I was happy for these guys too, right? We talk about this a lot when it comes to Sammy and KO, and we're not. I don't necessarily about you, but definitely me. Like, I'm not a El Generico, Kevin Steen, ROH guy. You know, I didn't grow up with all that shit, right? And so many people watch their careers and they get way too throaty on the old stuff. But at least understanding their backstory, that they
have a couple decks of cards from El Generico and Steen.
Nice.
And I got at the last PAC, the little fucking, like, they only made a few of them when they were still in these were like from 2003 or 4 or something. The guy made them while they were in ROH and they used to sell them, but when they stopped, they gave them back to him. It's not, he was getting rid of them. So, but
nice.
I love that stuff too, like, but it's different.
Yeah, we understand their history and giving them the opportunity. And me and you actually may have talked about this before, maybe offline. Their first WrestleMania match together with Logan Paul as a special guest really didn't feel like them having their WrestleMania match, right? Like they had exactly.
What do you mean Logan Paul?
The Conspiracy Sammy.
He was at the end.
Yeah,
that's right.
He
I can remember the half auditorium.
Yeah. No, this was outside at it was WrestleMania.
It was the
Tampa
half
2.
Yeah. It was the half stadium.
Yeah,
they had half seating.
Yeah,
it was outside half stadium. Yeah.
Yep. So I
forgot Logan Paul was even involved in that.
Exactly, and it wasn't this, right? This match was better than really anything they've done together, right? They had the Extreme Rules match, years ago too, right?
Battleground,
that's what it was. All of that was leading to this WrestleMania, I thought.
Yeah.
And then this, because KO winning is perfect. See you at Mania. And this is the Cody part of how I cheer, right? Like, we're booing for KO in this moment. I love KO. He is literally one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I am booing him because he's the bad guy here, and that's what his character's showing me. And I'm cheering for Sammy, and the fact that he fucking lost, see you at Mania, he's going to kick your fucking ass at Mania.
Yeah.
And then Randy Orton came out, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Not that I want it to go my way all the time, but this wasn't the story you were just telling us. Again, okay, let's go back to when KO fucked him up. Okay, so now we're going to have KO versus Cody versus Randy versus Sammy in the package pile driver 3-on-1 match, right? Like, if everyone who got package pile driver is going to come uppance against Cody, like, I guess that, or against KO, this is what's happening, right? Cody got his win at Mania, at Rumble, and then Sammy had his match, and now Randy's going to have his match. But where does Sammy fall into this?
Exactly. My fear is that what we get is Sammy versus KO with a guest referee, Randy Orton. I feel like is a compromise there that could legitimately happen. You could have KO saying, or you could have Randy saying, I can be impartial, don't fuck with me. But I think that at the end of the day, if they do that, Sammy wins because Orton gets involved, and that's shitty for Sammy. Sammy needs a one-on-one major victory against KO, because I think in the entire history of their rivalry, I don't think Sammy's had that. I think they've been saving it, and I think they're saving it for Mania for themselves. But if Sammy gets that win with interference from someone else, it undermines that. And I know it's pro wrestling, and wrestling is all wrestling and all the bull. I do think that people who take the details the way that KO and Sammy do, I do think that matters. If at the end, Sammy's not able to do it on his own and has to bring in a fucking legend killer to help, I think that undermines Sammy and his entire story arc and struggle all the way to here.
No,
I just don't think I'd be as excited, right? I would be happy for him, but it'd be like, I want, as a Sami Zayn fan for so long and watching him be thrown into literal dumpsters by Braun Strowman, I want Sammy to have this moment where he's able to take down the one guy who's been toppling his momentum theoretically for his entire career, right? KO's first night in NXT, what did he do?
Beat the shit out of Sammy.
And what did Sammy do? He won the championship that night. He became fucking NXT champion, but everyone talks about how KO came in and immediately attacked Sammy. They don't talk about how Sammy became a champion against a long-reigning Neville champion in an incredible match. And at the end of it, KO came in and ruined his moment. No one talks about Sammy's ruined moments. They talk about KO coming in and making a name for himself right away. KO came in and let people know who he was. They're undermining the idea that KO does that in the face of Sammy, on top of Sammy. KO's consistent leg ups through his career have been on the back of Sammy, and he even needed Sammy to get into the main event in a sense, right? Or did Sammy need KO? I don't know. KO had the Stone Cold thing. Does that count as a no? Was it mentioned? A lot of fucking area you can talk with and play with, but at the end of the day, all of it is KO takes advantage of Sammy and Sammy takes it. I want Sammy to get his win. I want him to give KO his comeuppance in a way that's clean, that does not involve another bigger, stronger person giving it to Sammy.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah, Sammy's win has to come on Sammy's terms because that's his character, right? When he beat Gunther, right?
Yeah.
Like it comes on Sammy's terms. And who was the last one to wish him support in that moment, right? KO can say, I've had your back in your biggest moments of your career, facing Gunther, beating the Usos at WrestleMania. Like this is what I do for you. That's again, the story just writes itself and they have the chemistry and history to be able to do these things.
Exactly. Because like you said, KO can say, I've been there for all those. And Sammy can say, you only elevated me, so you had a bigger step to step over.
Right. Right.
No, keep going. You're on it.
No, that was all I had on them.
No, like you said, the story writes itself, and it's so beautiful by itself that, like, yes, Randy Orton and these other guys, Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan, Usos, Bloodline, Roman, they can all weave in and out of that. But let's not forget the focus is
two of them. Yeah, but we don't have enough time from now until Mania to get Randy out of this position. That's kind of the problem. So that's why I was really bothered when his music hit. Of course, everybody wants to see Randy all the time. But, and I said this too, right? When it was Sammy and KO and the Usos interfered for the end of that match, right? And you're like, well, the story is more important than the finish of the match and then the interference is that I'm having a great match with a pinfall. In this moment, is the story bigger than the match?
Wait, which one? Which one?
Remember back in the day when it was leading towards Elimination Chamber, it was Sammy versus KO on either Raw or SmackDown. And instead of having a pinfall or a submission finish, the Usos interfered to cause the finish. It was just Sammy and KO one-on-one. And I was like, I love that match so much fun. I just wish they had a finish. And you're like, dude, the interference, man, the story that they're telling with the bloodline is more important than having a finish of this match. And I'm like, I understand that, but having a definitive match end there would have been great, In this moment, they had a definitive end to the match, but they don't have a definitive end to Sammy and KO. Is that because they're telling me that the Orton story is more important? And I fucking hope not.
Yeah, that's my fear too. Because even then, you could even retro book the idea of the Usos interfering in that match as another way to save the Sammy KO story from having too soon of a definitive finish or definitive thing. That you could easily argue that it was putting off towards something as big as this moment, right? Let's not give it away until we get all the way to here. You could say that, but at this point, Randy getting involved feels like, what are you saving it for now? We've did it. Like the last few Sammy and KO promos about each other were giving me different vibes on them. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the way that Sammy was even talking, and he's all like, there's a side of him that I just think that he's tapping into that I don't know. And there's a side of me I'm feeling I've never felt before. And like, you know how much they put into it. So like, yeah, at a certain point, just let them finish this thing in a way. Let's finish that story in a sense, you know? But I think that's kind of what I had for Elimination Chamber, because we already we talked about all the Cena Cody stuff, and I don't know that the match was even something people talked about after the fact so much as the turn after the match. So
well, and that was kind of the problem, is that the heel turned so big that a pay-per-view that was, if you go back and watch a pay-per-view without watching the end of it, it's a great fucking pay-per-view. It's really top tier for what they've done, especially with a 4-match card. This 4-match cards I don't like, because I want more bang for my buck. But again, it's just part of my Netflix subscription, so I guess it doesn't fucking matter, right?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you were talking about not being able to watch. Get a fucking VPN and just put it on England and watch everything on Netflix. It works.
You can watch it all on the network too. WWE Network works on that shit too.
The network doesn't exist anymore.
What? Last I heard, it was still in Canada.
Is it?
Yeah.
So Canada's the only place that has the network?
Well, I know Canada because I have a friend in Canada, and he says he still watches the WWE Network all the time.
Do you have his login?
Probably could hack it. He's not that smart. He's
Maple syrup 1 2 3 4.
Yeah, exactly. It's the last 4 of his fucking cell phone number. But yeah, I mean, it was otherwise great. I mean, to be honest, I didn't need and didn't want Punk involved in any of the stuff he is. I don't give a shit about his promo afterwards. I've seen people cut entire podcasts based off the idea that Punk is really pushing himself into a main event in a way, and I'm like, fuck all that. I don't see it, don't feel it.
Oh, that match is gonna open the show like a motherfucker.
Dude, Seth and Cody, even if you put Roman in there, is not closing tonight. I said too, I was like, that's a fucking mid card to opening match. It's opening match if they think it's very important. It's mid card if it's exactly where I think it ought to be.
Roman showed up on Monday. It's opening the fucking show. It's starting the fucking show. Are you kidding me? That was the one thing I felt bad for. Like, and I don't feel bad. Just in the essence of his character, Roman's main evented so many in a row. To not do it this year, storyline makes absolute sense. I have zero problem with Roman not main eventing, but the fact that he's not kind of sucks, right? Like, it's like, you know, like, but he's gonna be in the best story he can be right now. That story's opening the fucking show. It's Jay getting the main event against Gunther night 1 is gonna be awesome. He deserved it. He earned it. The crowd loves it. Everybody wants it to happen. And Cody and Cena night 2, it's gonna be fucking awesome. There is no night 3, so Roman, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I just wish he could keep it going with proper story, but this year it's not in the cards. So, you know, and I'm sure he's going to take way more pride in Jay being able to main event night 1 by himself than anything he could force his way into, which is something these IWC non-Roman throaters need to understand. As much as Roman's character presents it that he's all out for himself, believe it, he's not. He is not at all. So the triple threat opening night 1, most likely night 1, it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. It's going to lead towards whatever this Paul Heyman thing is. Because did you see the end of Raw?
Yeah, it was stupid. Paul Heyman crying with Punk and bullshit. Fuck that. That was so stupid. You're out of your fucking mind.
I love how much.
Why? Like, and that was the other thing too. Is that, like, as much as I like Paul, it was so fucking nonsense. Why would he go in there and start holding Punk and crying? And why is fucking Punk cuddling up to him like, oh my god, Paul saved me? What the fuck was all of that? I was like, this is fucking stupid. This is the problem with Punk, is that he was working with fucking children in AEW because he's on the same mental wavelength as all of them. Okay. He thinks entire storylines are based off of friendship bracelets and his fucking mentor from 20 years ago crying because he might get hit. Fuck off, dude. All stories aren't friendship and bracelets. Okay. There's a lot more going on in a combat-based world than my friends, my dog, and my bracelet. Fuck off, dude. You're worse than some country. There's a lot of good country, but the worst ones are about bracelets, dogs, and trucks.
That's fucking funny. That's funny. That's funny. My goodness. You know who has a dog and a truck and a really gaudy bracelet known as a Rolex?
Well, Rolex is a
Cody.
watch. That's what Cody Rhodes wears.
It's a bracelet.
Only the best. Only the best wear a Rolex, like a Cody. You know what I mean?
Oh,
are you dressing like Cody?
He has the best bracelet of all time. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, yeah.
Cody has a bracelet, a dog, and a truck. Terrible storyteller. You said it, not me.
And The Rock.
Oh.
The Rock gives away trucks. He's got so many.
Where's his bracelet, though?
He gave it back.
Exactly.
And
Because
then Cody
bracelets
punched
are
him.
bullshit.
And then Cena punched him with it.
Oh, my goodness. And I love Michael Cole being in kayfabe. He's got the brass knucks because he didn't know what it was, didn't want to know the story. McAfee go, that's a Rolex, Cole. Like,
I know.
So good, man. It's going to be, look, at the end of the day, true story, no matter what. When it ends up at WrestleMania, it's just going to feel like an epic moment. You know, and I think that's where they did this the right way. Yeah. I can use definitely what I'm going to love the most of it is a toned down Cena. That cartoon shit he does really fucking bums me out. He's the only one. He's the only one still playing wrestler from the 90s. You know what I mean? All that jumping around goofy shit. Yeah, like what? No one else does that. Not one other wrestler does that.
No, and it's tough too because his whole thing is I'm playing towards the back of the 100-seat arena, 100,000-seat stadium. But you go, but Jacob's doing that too by just doing this.
Right.
Although we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I got a thing I got to take care of in the next few minutes. But I will say that in on board with what you were saying about Roman's character and person. I don't mean his character he plays, but the character within. I would be honestly surprised if someone asked him his favorite year as a wrestler if he didn't say this year watching his family. Because I think he takes more pride in watching them succeed off of his foundation than he takes in building that foundation. I think he's that type. And I also base that just off of having met so many members of that family. They all seem like that type.
Yeah, just to put a nice bow on this as well. Like that's the importance of the bloodline, right? Yeah. Like Jacob is an undeniable talent, but it's solidified by the solo story that was solidified by the bloodline, right? Jay is a hell of a talent. We all saw it when he was wrestling, when they did the turn from the Haka to the Uso Penitentiary. You know, he was a big forward-facing part of the Attitude, all that shit. He wasn't getting there without the bloodline and what Roman's character represented and all that shit. So everyone associated being solidified that way. It's awesome. And I agree with you. He would probably say this is his favorite time watching all this shit.
The bloodline is so important that because it was built the way that it was built, it's such that they could no longer keep Jacob out. Jacob was turned down a lot, and Jacob knew it, and he's talked about it, and he knows why he wasn't able to come in. Roman made sure that his work was so important that at a certain point they had to put that aside and acknowledge the good that Jacob's done since reform and not how to get into trouble, right? Like Jacob has interviews out there about how wrestling saved his life because it turned him away from the crime, that he was a failure as a criminal because he kept being arrested. And he literally was in prison, saw the Usos on TV and said, I got to try something else, right? And then he found this other route. That's how important what Roman's doing is doing. That's how important the bloodline is that it really did set the table for his family to become undeniable and important enough to where Jacob's been undeniable for a long time.
Yeah.
But they always had something they could hide behind to push him away. And Roman put it to a point where it was like, that's not true anymore. It's important.
They got Jacob to Canada too, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know the logistics of that particular red tape, but we talked about it with the Usos not being able to cross the border, and then they got the Usos across the border with all that red tape. Jacob said it on TV. The difference between me and you is I've been in that box, so you know his rap sheet has full-on incarceration on it. And if they found a way to clear that red tape to get him to Canada for the Elimination Chamber, like, he's an important part of what they want to do. And like you said, that doesn't exist without Roman creating the bloodline story and making it so important that these things can feed off of it. So it's fantastic.
It's amazing. It's amazing stuff, dude. And it's been fun and amazing to have you here, to have our chats with Justin Time, Julius, Cairo. Keep an eye out for the dive bar notifications, because you don't know when we're going to pop back up. That's the thing about this dive bar, man, is we have irregular hours now. We're like our bowel movements, man. Irregular.
Well, look, thanks for having me on as always. And I will be bugging you as much as I can to do this, because this is fun. We have a blast. We spent an hour talking about Cody, arguing about Cody, and then kind of agreeing that, like, you know, it's fucking wrestling, so who cares? You know, it's
at the end of the day, that's the whole thing. I don't care how passionate. I mean, matter of fact, I do care how passionate everyone is about the things that they love and love to talk about and argue about. The thing that you cannot lose in your passion is humanity, and you have to remember that you're sat here at the same time and place as some other human who is sat next to you. In this moment in time, we are equals in every way, right? Like, even talking to some wrestlers, where someone ends up in a locker room and says it's an honor to be anywhere near you, right? And then the thing is, brother, we're on the same show right now, right? We're equal. We got the same booking, you know. Like, at a certain point, you need to remember, no matter how passionate and how much you believe in something, you don't lose your humanity, and you don't sacrifice friendships over the kinds of things that don't need to be that serious, right? There are serious issues that I can understand people drawing a line in the sand, but wrestling is not one of them. There is no reason to spoil a friendship at a dive bar. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we're drinking and yelling about wrestling because we both love it and each other, that we're able to do that, right? So let's not forget that in this inhumane IWC, that there's always a dive bar that you can come and be just as passionate and yell about and truly believe. Just don't forget that, hey, everyone knows your name. You're a friend here, you know?
Absolutely. All right. So before I say more shit, let me do the wrap up part.
Yep. Wrap it up.
All right. At TW Takes Podcast on Twitter, twtakes.podcast.com. All of my hyperlinks are expired, so do not click on any of the listen here. What you do is, if you listen to podcasts, just type in TW Takes Podcast, and it comes right up. So until I get myself tech savvy to create new hyperlinks or get a link tree or wherever the fuck, just search me on your audio platform. That's it.
Yeah, no, that's good. Our stuff is all over the board. I pay for some stuff. I stopped paying for others. I don't even have access to my RSS feed anymore. That's why I've stopped posting audio wise.
Oh, shit.
But I should be getting it back. I'm going to try and get it back. But at the end of the day, like, I just wanted more than anything, let's not forget where we came from, how we started, what we were always been about. And at the end of the day, the past couple of weeks has really reminded me where I came from and why we are who we are. I've in since the beginning of March, we're 14 days in, and happy St. Patty's Day to anybody listening. I've been to Tucson, Phoenix, Show Low, Albuquerque, and Denver in the past 2 weeks. And it's kind of reminded me and reset a number of things. And that is to include that, hey, at the end of the day, we're on YouTube and Twitch always. So if you can't find us other places, you can always find us where we made our first home, right here on Twitch, right here on YouTube. So
fuck yeah,
guys, thank you for coming through and being our drinking buddies. We'll see you next time right here in the dive bar of the IWC. That's last call.
Cheers.
Producer Lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support and buy us a drink by putting the I in subscribe and reviewing our podcast. And cheers.
I would never have a drink